I am so pleased right now to present Meredith Nokovich. Meredith is the training coordinator in Hunterdon, Somerset, and Warren Vicinage, and she's going to present to you beautiful boards all about how to make charcuterie boards. I'm telling you, Meredith rivals Food Network. She is amazing. So we really hope you enjoy this. So much fun and seasonal as well.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. You may have noticed that we just briefly muted you while you were coming into our session today. Don't worry, we'll have a chance for Q&A and for you to interact with me towards the end of our session. We want to thank you for bearing with us as we've had some technical difficulties today, but hopefully this afternoon you can kind of sit back and relax. Hopefully this is a little bit of an amuse-bouche before dinner time later on this evening and gets your creative juices flowing when it comes to creating some beautiful food boards. So I'm actually going to be presenting some different options that are actually highlighted in the book Beautiful Boards by Megan Brown. I'll actually get a chance to show you some of these wonderful, colorful pages at the end of our session as well. I'm going to go ahead and put our book on the back counter right now while we get started with our first food board. So for those of you who signed on and registered for participating in our session today, Jessica Howboys had sent over some ideas of things that you can actually gather if you want to go ahead and build your food boards with me. So what we'll do is we'll get started with building the traditional charcuterie board together. And then I also have, as you can probably see, some previews around my counter. We have some other food boards that I'll show you that you can actually have in order to share with your families and friends. Now, first, I know that some people find the term charcuterie difficult to say, and that's okay. In this day and age, we call them food boards. But charcuterie actually did come about actually centuries ago with French chefs back in like the 1600s, 1500s, right around there. And they wanted to showcase to their lords and governors and kings how they could actually display wonderful cured meats and different ways that they've been able to prepare different meats. So they would actually put out a charcuterie, a meat and cheese board, to actually showcase that information. Oh, Amanda, I see everyone joining us all of a sudden. Oh, sorry, Amanda.
Sorry,
I got
Meredith.
here really quickly. All right. Now, is everyone just joining us or did they join us previously? Amanda?
Apologies, some were previous.
Okay, no problem. Well, we're just getting started with our beautiful board session. Like I said, we're going to be building our traditional charcuterie board together, which is showcasing some of those wonderful dried and cured meats and some aged and also fresh cheeses. Now, we did send along some information ahead of time if you wanted to build this with me. So you can feel free to do that beforehand for your dinner or, you know, to share with family and friends. So I mentioned a little bit about charcuterie, that it's something that's been around for hundreds of years, where chefs actually were demonstrating how they had cured and dried different meats and actually shared that with their local lords and kings and even governors in France. And so we're going to make things a little more contemporary today, where I'm going to be showcasing not just charcuterie, but also various food boards that you can actually have to share with your friends, with your family, because that's really what food boards are about, is gathering people around the table and enjoying different foods that you and your friends and family might actually enjoy. So to get started with putting together our traditional charcuterie board, you can actually see I don't have a board in front of me. I actually just have a platter for this one. I'm going to be showcasing other food boards which are on boards themselves in a little bit. But for a classic charcuterie, you can certainly do a wooden board. You can do a cutting board if you have one available, but if you don't have one as large to serve and provide the abundance that you want to share with your family and your friends, you can actually just pick up a regular platter. So that's what we're going to use today. So I'm first going to start out with our larger items on the plate, right? So that would be our cheeses, that would be some of our larger items of our cured meats. So what I'm going to go do, and I have impeccably clean hands. I have been washing my hands probably about 50 times today in preparation of our session. But if you don't feel comfortable using impeccably clean hands, you can certainly use food grade non-latex gloves when you're preparing food boards, whether it's charcuterie or some of the other boards that we'll be showcasing today as well. So I'm going to get started. I have a little prep area over to the side. So I'm going to get started with some of those larger items that I was mentioning. I have a wheel of brie cheese that I'm actually going to be putting out on my plate first. I actually have some prepared prosciutto, which I'm going to be showcasing as well. Now, my family is born and raised in New Jersey, but we're also of an Irish background, so I say prosciutto. If you pronounce it differently, I certainly welcome you to put that into the chat as well, but that's how we share that. Now, one thing with prosciutto is that it doesn't take kindly to a lot of handling. So in order to keep that wonderful flavor, you actually just want to keep it out as it is, right? It comes in these wonderful slices. You can actually include these wonderful slices right on your board as well. Sometimes you might see that people have rolled them up into roses, or they made really wonderful, different shapes with them. But prosciutto is one of those foods that really tastes the best if it has limited human handling. So we're going to leave it at that. I have some other cheeses that I've selected for this. Now, we're not getting too crazy with the cheese selection. I know in my family, I actually have a toddler, or actually not a toddler anymore, a young child. And my husband is also pretty picky when it comes to food. So the cheeses that I have selected for today, I have actually an aged white cheddar. I have a Parmesan. I have a like a pepper jack type cheese. And I actually have a different kind of a goat's cheese as well that I'm going to be including on the board. Now, what I like to do with some of the cheeses is ahead of time, I might actually showcase how my guests can actually slice them. So for the simple, smaller goat's cheese, I'm actually going to just cut up some of the triangles here and kind of set them into the front so that my guests can actually see how they can actually slice that cheese if they want to enjoy it. For my harder cheeses like my cheddar, I might actually go ahead again and slice up some of the slices beforehand and actually showcase that on the board next to that whole cheese slice. So they can actually, again, see how they can enjoy that. With something like a Parmesan, it's really fun for my guests to actually be interactive with it. So I'm actually going to include the Parmesan on the plate whole and then include a cheese knife next to it so that my guests can actually kind of get that experience with actually chipping off a little bit of the Parmesan themselves. But that pepper jack, I'm again going to have some of the slices pre-sliced and just place it there right next to the cheese. Now from there, I'm going to include some of the other meats and options that I'm going to have on my charcuterie, because you can already see my platter's already pretty full just with my cheeses, but I'm going to be putting out some other options. Now, my family likes to have, traditional, prosciutto or some type of, pork-based meat on that board, but they also enjoy something different. So I've actually included a turkey sausage option. Amanda, we have a request to go ahead and pin, so I know that our participants might be able to see that a little bit more as well. You can also certainly click on my little icon as well, and I think that should showcase that. So I'm going to go ahead and put out some of my turkey sausage, which I have already pre-sliced around my cheese board. I should say cheese platter. It's not necessarily a board today. And then actually I have some cured salami. And what I've done actually is I've gone ahead and folded up my cured salami actually into these nice little quarters. So I'm going to place my little quarter of salami around my charcuterie platter as well, so that my guests can select to have some salami and possibly some of that aged cheddar. I'll also put some over here by my pepper jack. And I'll just be continuing to fill in around that area. Now, once you have your main meats and cheeses on the board, then you can start adding in some other things that you want to have as a filler. So, of course, a traditional filler is crackers. You know, we want to make sure that we're having something to actually have that meat and cheese together. So I just have some standard round, these are actually multi-grain crackers that I'm going to be placing around the board. And I also have, in addition to crackers, I have some nuts. Now, I know that some people actually have some nut allergies. And so when I'm having, you know, bigger parties where I'm going to have guests who are joining me, and I don't necessarily know if they have particular allergies, I'll actually put some things like nuts, whether that's tree nuts or some other options. I'll actually put them in a separate container. And then I can go ahead and nestle that nut display actually right in the middle of that charcuterie board. I'm going to continue to add in some other things. I love to have fruit, and whether that's dried fruit or fresh fruit with my platters as well. So I'm actually going to go ahead and add in some dried figs. I love dried figs, especially with prosciutto. It's kind of that salty sweet combination that is just really, you know, mouth-watering when you're at a party. So I'm going to actually place some figs on the board. My platter, I should say again. And then I also have some other crackers as well that go really well with soft cheeses. These are fig and rosemary crackers from a local Trader Joseph's, if you will, which is really a great option if you're looking to do some charcuterie and some entertaining on a budget. Now, my board actually looks pretty full already just with my meats and my cheeses and my crackers, but I'm also going to go ahead and add in some fresh fruit because I love to have something that's a little fresher, maybe some tartness. So I'm actually going to add in some fresh strawberries, also for color on your charcuterie board. So I'm actually just going to nestle some of our fresh strawberries right onto the board. And you can see it just adds a nice pop of color right away to what you're preparing for your family and your friends. Now, again, food safety is something that's really key for me. And when you have a platter like this, people just want to dive right in and kind of jump right in there. But some things that can be really helpful on a food board. You can go to your local dollar store and they actually have these miniature little forks. They're made of plastic. I know we're trying to save the world, but we're also trying to save each other's health. So you can always nestle in these little forks right here so people can actually grab your meats, so they can actually grab the little pieces of cheese. And then they're also being considerate of those who are around them as well. I'm going to add in my cheese knives so that my family and my friends can enjoy. And there we have a pretty easy put together charcuterie board for our family and friends to enjoy. Now, I mentioned that this is also about beautiful boards. And so what I'm going to be showcasing for you for the rest of the session is not just our traditional charcuterie board, which we'll bring back over in a little bit, but also some other fun things. Now, again, a lot of these ideas can actually be found in Megan Brown's book, Beautiful Boards. And you can actually see, if you look through, and there's some really great photos actually in the book as well, that give you some ideas of different charcuterie boards and ways that you can share different meals around with your family. Now, I just turned conveniently to breakfast and brunch boards. And that's actually what I'm going to showcase next, is we're going to be putting together the rest of a breakfast board. So I'm hoping you can see this a little bit. I mean, I am going to hold it up. Hopefully everything doesn't go spilling away. But I have my board about 80% complete, where I've included some of our cinnamon rolls that I've made earlier. I actually have some miniature pancakes around the board. My son is 6 years old, and so he loves these little mini pancakes. I have some bacon that I had crisped up last night. My house smelled heavenly. And then I'm also going to be including some other spreads that we can have on that breakfast board as well. So I've included a traditional, hazelnut cocoa spread that, everyone knows and loves, because For a food board, and especially a breakfast one that you might be sharing for a holiday or a special occasion for a family member, sometimes you want to have some fun things on there. So we have our spread, but I'm also going to be including some fresh whipped cream that I actually whipped up earlier. Be placing that on the board. I have a nice little container of some warmed maple syrup that I'm actually going to be placing on the board as well. And then again, you know I love to have color on my food boards. So I'm going to be adding in some of those fresh strawberries right onto my board. And hopefully my son grabs some fruit and has that with all of his wonderful sweet snacks in the morning when we're having this special breakfast board. So food boards don't necessarily have to be super traditional like our cheese board that we had. You can certainly make things based off of events and gatherings that you're having with your family and your friends. This is just a very simple breakfast board that you can kind of put out and make things really fun. People get to kind of choose what they want to have for that breakfast gathering, and it just kind of makes it really interactive and kind of fun for them. All right, so I'll put that to the side. I also want to showcase a board that I have in regards to a movie night. So in my family, we have to have a movie night every week, every Saturday night. We get together and either we're renting a movie or we're streaming a movie right from our living room. And so we have to have our goodies there too. So you can see here, I have included my popcorn for my family to have. And then I have some favorite movie goodies. I love to have chocolate pretzels, so those are included. I also love to have, I love chocolate. So I have some chocolate orange sticks that are included. And I don't know about your favorite movie candy, but my favorite movie candy, again, is chocolate. And I love to have chocolate covered raisins. So I'm actually going to include some of those on the board. Add some sensory sounds to that as well. And then we have our movie food board, which we can put out on our coffee table. We can put out with our family. If you are in Somerset County, Somerville does a wonderful outdoor movie night during the summer. So maybe we'll even pack up a food board for that movie night and take it with us, put down our picnic blanket and put something fun out so that, you know, everyone around us is like, what are they eating? They look like they're eating something fun. Now, my family I mentioned that I'm Irish, and so I pronounce prosciutto. But my family, my husband's family is from Serbia. And so they eat mostly a Mediterranean lifestyle. And so one thing that we love to have is very Mediterranean, Greek inspired foods for dinner. And so I've actually put together a meze board. I'm not going to finish this one because this one's pretty significant to put together. But what I've included on this are some foods that we would normally have for an evening where we're having Mediterranean food or Greek inspired food. So I have some spanakopita. I also have what my Serbian family calls pita, which is it's actually phyllo dough with a cheese mixture actually inside and spiraled around. We have some wonderful dipping sauces, or spreads too. So I have a traditional roasted garlic hummus. I have a tzatziki with cucumber in it. And then I actually have a red pepper spread that is called Ivar in Serbia. So we always have to serve up our red pepper Ivar, which is just so delicious with either pita or if we're putting it on some crackers or some sliced baguette. Again, you got to see that that color is there. I love my colorful vegetables that I'm including, and also some grilled olives, which I've never had before, but I'm going to be trying those after this session. So hopefully those are going to be enjoyable as well. Now, my final board that I wanted to share is a seasonal one upcoming for summer. So I actually put together a fruit board that doesn't look like a traditional like fruit salad. So I actually put together my fruit board where I'm just showcasing some seasonal fruits. I have my watermelon, I have cantaloupe, I have some dragon fruit and kiwi, and I actually have some blueberries. Now the blueberries you might notice are actually in separate cups. And that's because if I'm bringing something like this into my office, one of my colleagues has an unfortunate blueberry allergy, so I always want to keep those separate from those other foods as well. So that's something to kind of keep in mind if you're putting together a food board. Talk to your family and friends, and if there's any sensitivities or things that they might have some allergies to, you definitely want to be cognizant of that. You can definitely put them into separate containers. I also love using mason jars to put different foods on and into for those food boards. And there we go. You can see I finished up my fruit board with my strawberries there. So hopefully this has provided just kind of some ideas, hopefully giving you some inspiration to kind of get out there and put some different food boards together for your families. But I would say don't be scared with putting together food boards. During the pandemic, my husband and I would just kind of go into our refrigerator, see what we had for lunch. We'd put it together on a cutting board, and then we'd have just kind of a fun and innovative, lunch. And we would do that sometimes for breakfast as well with my son. So I encourage you to get creative. If you want to, you can feel free to check out beautiful boards. I'm sure your local library has a copy of it as well. So I always encourage people to check out their local libraries to see if they have any options for that. But hopefully this gives you some ideas on building some beautiful boards to share with your family and friends, and especially as we get towards those summer months when people are gathering outside, enjoying the grill, enjoying company, and gathering together. So I know we're a few minutes over.
No, that we had technical difficulties. Thank you so much, Meredith. And I just want to say that I'm so hungry right now, and it's actually a good thing. And you are so inspirational. This is gorgeous. And I wish I knew the direct route to your house. So I'm just saying, like, that's just beautiful. I'm looking at it's just gorgeous. Thank you so much. You're receiving lots of thank yous. Yeah, really awesome, quite pretty. And then we had somebody that mentioned nut allergies, and like you had said, you want to keep those items separate, of course, for your family members. Talk to your family members. Yep, we're all responsible that way. So, all right, everyone. So we're at 4:48 right now. And there is a break that you guys have till 4:55 before you join your educational sessions. So with that, I say thank you again 100 times, Meredith, and thank you for your patience. And we appreciate you. And your house is beautiful, and so is food. And thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you all of our volunteers for all that you do throughout the year. We really appreciate what you do for all of our court users and the people who are coming to the courts for all of their needs. So thank you so much for doing what you do. And if anyone has any ideas, or if you have access to your mic, you can feel free to jump on mic. Or if you have any questions, feel free. I know we have a few minutes before that break ends, so feel free to jump in.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. I have earphones in, so I couldn't tell. On the one Mediterranean dish, what was the one dip that was? I don't even know how you said it.
Oh, Ivar.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So this is actually Ivar. It's a red pepper dip. Sometimes you see it with roasted red peppers and either like a hot pepper variation or roasted red peppers and eggplant. So it's AJVAR, and it's delicious. It's also delicious on other things. I actually prepare this on salmon before we're going to be cooking it. We'll actually put the Ivar on the salmon. Oh, delicious.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to look for that. I love the Mediterranean idea. I love all of
your favorite cuisine. So
yes.
I figured we got to put it on a board.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. This was great.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks so much for joining.
Anyone else want to open up their mic? Ask Meredith a question before she leaves us and joins Food Network or Recipe.tv. It's like lots of thank yous. Okay. I think we are good. And like I said, 4:55, the break ends and you can join your educational sessions. Thank you, everyone. And thank you again, Meredith. I appreciate you. We all appreciate you. and we will see you shortly. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.